Tonight we start in the hazy warmth of an ancient Indian sunrise, where the smoke of sandalwood drifts lazily through the still air and cows are already blocking the road like they own the place. Which, technically, they do. You're in a land where the divine lives in everything. Rivers, stones, tree trunks. And your first obstacle this morning is stepping over a sacred frog that's parked itself squarely on your only sandal. I'm the candlelight historian, and this is history as it was lived. Unforgiving, unfiltered, and brutally real. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. But only if you actually enjoy these strange and sleepy little voyages through time. And let me know in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is. I always find it oddly soothing to imagine people all over the world drifting off to the same ancient tales at different moments. Now, relax, take a slow breath, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Because we're about to wander through the ancient world and uncover some of its most bizarre daily habits, odd beliefs, and sacred rituals. Things that might seem strange today, but back then were just life. You're lying on a straw mat in a small mud brick hut, half awake, half reincarnated. The roof is made of woven reeds, and a curious monkey is watching you from the window. He seems judgmental, maybe because you snored, or maybe because you forgot your morning ritual. You sit up slowly, your joints stiff but your spirit intact. In your hand is a neem twig, thin, pale, bitter. It looks unimpressive, like a cheap chopstick that's given up on life. But this is your toothbrush. You chew the end gently until it frays, then start scrubbing. There's no mint flavor, just the raw, mouth-puckering taste of antibacterial tree bark. It's earthy, it's intense. It's a flavor that screams ancient dentistry, and I dare you to complain. You spit into the clay basin and move outside, stepping past a snoozing goat and a pile of yesterday's incense ashes. The air smells like warm spice, damp earth, and cow. Always cow. They wander freely here, revered, respected, occasionally inconvenient. One is licking a wall. No one stops it. A soft bell rings in the distance. You follow the sound toward the riverbank, where people are already washing, praying, and exchanging local gossip. The water glistens in the morning light, sacred and slightly brown. You scoop some into your cupped hands, not to drink, but to rinse. First your mouth, then your face, then your soul, ideally. A priest nearby murmurs a mantra under his breath, smudging ashes across his forehead while absently swatting a fly with his fan. You repeat the morning sequence you've done every day since you were old enough to sit upright. A quiet prayer, a ritual sprinkle of water, a glance at the sun. It's not religion the way you know it now, it's routine. Like brushing your teeth or scrolling your phone, but with more deities and fewer advertisements. Someone taps your shoulder. It's your cousin. He smells like cardamom and sweat, and he's holding a small, decorated bowl of ghee. Time for breakfast. You follow him past narrow alleys and painted doorways, where marigolds hang in dried clusters and chickens wander like they own the place. A woman is chanting as she smears cow dung on the ground to purify it. Not figuratively. That's the actual process. A paste of cow dung and mud is considered cleansing, though your nose disagrees violently. Inside your cousin's courtyard, breakfast is simple. Lentils, rice, and flatbread cooked on a hot stone. There's no cutlery, just fingers, and a slightly complicated set of etiquette rules about which hand to use and where to put it when you're done. You sit cross-legged, take a piece of roti, and mop up the dole like a pro. It's good, comforting, a little gritty, but warm. Conversation turns to dreams. Apparently, your aunt saw a black snake last night, which means there's an important message from the god Shiva. Or possibly just that she should avoid eggplants today. Interpretations vary. Dreams aren't just idle nighttime nonsense here. They're part of the spiritual ecosystem. You nod solemnly, as if you understand, as if you're not still trying to process the concept of holy frogs. After breakfast, it's time for a visit to the local healer. Not because you're sick, but because you might become sick. And prevention is better than death. She greets you with a forehead tap and asks what your humors are doing lately. You don't know, so she checks your pulse, inspects your tongue, and then prescribes a powder that smells like dirt and betrayal. You smile, thank her, swallow it, instantly regret it. Back outside, the sun is climbing and the village is fully alive. Traders call out their wares: spices, silk, suspiciously aggressive herbs. Children chase a chicken into a shrine courtyard. Somewhere, a flute is playing the same 5 notes over and over again, like someone trying to summon a snake, but mostly just annoying the pigeons. Someone's painting a wall with a design meant to keep evil spirits out. It's colorful and oddly cheerful, considering its purpose is ghost deterrence. You glance down and notice your own ankle is wrapped with a thread charm, blessed by a holy man last month to protect against fevers, curses, and romantic disappointment. It didn't work on the last one. As the afternoon heat rolls in, you return to your hut, not to rest, but to meditate, or at least try. You sit quietly, breathing slowly, pretending not to hear the neighbor yelling at his donkey. Your thoughts drift like the river outside, slow and murky, and for a brief moment, between a fly landing on your nose and your foot falling asleep, you think you actually understand something about the rhythm of life here. It's not about comfort or convenience. It's about patterns, cycles, routines wrapped in belief and baked under the same sun that's been rising over these sacred cows for thousands of years. You lie back down on your straw mat, the neem twig still bitter in your mouth, the smell of turmeric and incense lingering in the air. Tomorrow, the frogs will still be holy, the dung will still be purifying, and your dreams, they might just mean something. You wake up a little earlier this time, maybe because the sun's brighter, or maybe because someone's shouting about papyrus again. You're in Egypt now, ancient, humming, golden Egypt, where even the dust sparkles, and everyone seems way too obsessed with eyeliner. The room is cool and shadowed, built from mud brick, and designed to trap what little breeze the Nile offers. It works, sort of. The walls are painted with faded images of gods who look half human, half animal, and somehow still more composed than most people you know. You sit up slowly, surrounded by linen sheets that haven't been washed in a while, but smell faintly of frankincense. The scent here is always complex. Smoke, sand, something sweet, and something sharp you can't quite place. Possibly embalming fluid, possibly breakfast. A servant hands you a small mirror, polished from metal, and you catch your reflection. Tired, dusty, mysteriously regal. You stretch your neck and someone instantly offers you a dab of scented oil, like it's muscle balm for a minor deity. You nod, accept it. Rub it into your shoulders like you've done this your whole life. Maybe you have. And then comes the eyeliner. This isn't optional. Everyone wears it, men, women, priests, peasants, probably cats. A mixture of ground minerals and grease, painted just beneath the eyes. At first it seems purely decorative, but apparently it's also medicinal and magical. It wards off infections, evil spirits, and, allegedly, your nosy cousin. You apply it carefully with a stick that looks like it used to be part of a tree and now has ambitions of becoming art. Your face now says, I am confident, spiritual, and possibly dangerous. But underneath the glamour lies something stranger. The makeup, called coal, contains lead, not metaphorically, actually, which explains why your uncle keeps forgetting your name. But hey, fashion has always been about sacrifice. Breakfast is waiting. Flatbread dates, goat cheese, and a small pot of beer that's somehow considered normal to drink this early. It tastes like wet bread and regret, but you sip it anyway. Your teeth crunch slightly as you chew the bread. That's not texture, that's sand. Everything has sand in it. It's Egypt's most persistent seasoning. You step outside into the crisp brightness of morning. The sun is already claiming the horizon like it owns the place, which, again, it kind of does. The Nile shimmers just beyond the houses, lined with palms and people and the constant flutter of activity. A group of children runs past, all shaved heads except for one little lock of hair left at the back. It's for spiritual protection. Also, convenience, because lice are an ancient Egyptian tradition no one likes to talk about. You make your way toward the temple district, where the sacred and the strange blur together in a daily parade of rituals. Offerings are being made to Horus, someone is chanting beside a falcon, and a young woman is delicately placing a bouquet of blue lotus flowers near a statue with the head of a jackal. The flowers smell sweet and heady, some say mildly narcotic. You take a breath and feel floaty. On your way back, you pass a market stall selling beauty supplies, perfumes, pigments, and something the vendor insists will make your skin glow like moonlight. You ask what's in it. He smiles. Crocodile dung. Yes, that's the thing. People here sometimes mix it into creams and masks to purify the skin. You stare at the jar. The jar stares back, and for one wild moment, you consider buying it. Then you remember the crocodile and decide your paws are just fine. At home, a healer is preparing your weekly wellness ritual. It involves honey, crushed beetles, and some chanting you don't fully understand. You sit quietly while he dabs a sticky concoction behind your ears and offers you a charm wrapped in linen. You don't ask what's inside. It's better that way. Cleanliness is half spiritual here and half paranoia. People bathe often, wear linen to beat the heat, and shave body hair regularly to stay pure. You're handed a copper razor and a small bowl of cool water. Time to tidy up, carefully. Afterward, you walk slowly to the riverbank. The light dances on the water like scattered gold, and small boats drift past, their sails fluttering like wings. A priest is reading omens in the flight of birds. Another is trying to train an ibis to bow. It's not going well. Someone hands you a scroll. It's covered in hieroglyphs and illustrations, mostly instructions for navigating the afterlife. It turns out dying here is almost as complicated as living. You're expected to bring your heart to judgment, answer moral riddles, and maybe fight a giant crocodile spirit. No pressure. In preparation, people spend their whole lives collecting little charms and spells to sneak into their tombs. Some are supposed to keep your soul safe. Others are just there to impress the gods. It's kind of like packing for a vacation, if your vacation included potential eternal judgment and soul dismemberment. Back home, the heat settles in like a heavy blanket. You lie on a mat in the shaded courtyard, eyes half closed, listening to the buzz of flies and the occasional cluck of a holy goose. Yes, some geese are sacred. Don't question it. You feel the slickness of coal under your eyes. the faint scent of resin in your hair, the dryness of your palms after too much exposure to mystery oils. And somehow, despite the sand in your shoes and the crocodile-based skincare, everything feels intentional. Like the world is a carefully choreographed dance between gods, people, and mildly toxic cosmetics. You smile, not because it makes sense, but because it doesn't have to. The light has shifted again. The sun feels wider now, a little more lazy, a little more golden, and the air smells like olives and ambition. You're somewhere in ancient Greece, Athens specifically, and you're already late for your morning workout, which is not optional. You roll off your thin mattress and pull on, well, nothing. Because this is ancient Greece, and gymnasium rules are simple. No clothes, no problem. In fact, the word gymnasium literally means school for naked exercise, which feels like a detail they maybe should have rethought. You step outside into the soft hum of the city, past columns and courtyards, olive trees and open-air markets. Marble dust clings to the edges of everything, like the city is always half finished and half glorious. The sky is blue like philosophy, bright, deep, a little smug. At the gymnasium, dozens of men are already stretching, sparring, and generally showing off. This isn't just exercise, it's performance. It's where reputations are made, debates are started, and calves are admired with uncomfortable intensity. You join in, stretch, jog, grapple. Everything aches, and not in a noble way. In a this floor is very hard way. A slave hands you a small jug of oil. Time to grease up. Again, not optional. Olive oil is the ancient Greek version of a full skincare routine. You rub it across your chest and shoulders like some kind of radiant, slippery statue in progress. The idea is that the oil protects you from the sun, keeps your skin soft, and, here's the weird part, makes it easier to scrape off all the sweat and grime after the workout. Which brings us to the strigil. It's a curved bronze tool, shaped like a miniature scythe, used to scrape the oil and dirt from your body. You run it along your arms and legs with a practiced flick, watching little rivers of gunk curl off like ancient exfoliation ribbons. You nod to the man next to you. He nods back. Silent approval. Both of you covered in oil, neither of you blinking. It's all very casual, very shiny. And just when you think this couldn't get weirder, a philosopher shows up. Because of course he does. He launches into a half-sweaty, half-poetic rant about virtue and form and how the symmetry of your biceps reflects the balance of your soul. You try to listen, you really do, but his beard keeps wagging when he talks, and you're more focused on not slipping on the polished stones underfoot. Later, you stroll through the agora, the bustling public market and gossip hub of the city. You're wrapped in a light himation now, finally clothed, though it still feels like a bedsheet held up by optimism. The vendors are selling everything, from figs and fish to scrolls and sandals. A child is yelling about a stolen goose. No one is taking him seriously. A doctor offers you a sample of his latest wellness concoction: honey, vinegar, and powdered snail shell. He claims it cures everything from fatigue to heartbreak. You sip it. It tastes like regret, but you nod politely. Nearby, a friend greets you with a cheerful slap on the back and a wild story about someone who tried to keep a lizard in their ear to improve memory. You pretend to be surprised. You've heard stranger. This is a society that believes sneezing is a message from the gods, and hiccups means someone's talking about you. Possibly both are true, possibly neither. You return home in the late afternoon, where your mother is burning herbs to cleanse the air, and your cousin is muttering over a cracked statue. It lost an arm recently, and she's convinced it brought bad luck. You don't argue, it's not worth the energy. Besides, she's already tied a red thread around the base to trap the misfortune inside. Problem solved. Dinner is olives, cheese, lentils, and maybe a bit of fish if someone was lucky by the docks. You eat with your fingers, tearing bread and soaking it in oil. While the conversation drifts between politics, poetry, and a new guy who claims he saw a satyr in the hills, everyone laughs. But quietly, just in case he's right. As the sky turns indigo, you light a small oil lamp and lie back on a stone bench in the courtyard. Crickets sing in the distance. A breeze carries the scent of rosemary and dust. You stare at the stars, bright, close, constant. The same stars Homer sang about. The same ones Socrates probably insulted once. You scratch a bit of dried oil from your elbow and wonder if this counts as progress. You've exercised your body, debated virtue, and endured a lecture from a half-naked man with a waxy mustache, all in a day's work. As your eyes drift closed, you think, maybe there's something to this ancient Greek habit of balance, mind and body, philosophy and fitness, olive oil and public nudity. Weird, but not the worst way to end a day. You wake to the sound of water echoing softly through stone halls. It's warm, humid, and for once, you're not sleeping in a bed of straw or on a mat that smells like goat. You're reclining in a Roman villa now, somewhere along the Mediterranean coast, the kind of place with red-tiled roofs, marble columns, and neighbors who argue in Latin about wine. A servant draws back a thin curtain and offers you a small cup of watered-down wine. Morning wine, because Romans believe in easing into consciousness gently. You sit up, stretch, and feel the weight of the previous day's sweat still clinging to your skin. Time for a bath, not a quick splash of water. A real bath. A Roman bath. You slip into your tunic, sandals, and dignity, then head out into the city, past statues of vaguely smirking emperors and fountains where pigeons hold daily court. The streets are loud, chaotic, and smell like a mix of baked bread, donkey, and something fishy you'd rather not investigate. But through all the noise, there's one sound you follow, the rhythmic splash and chatter of the public baths. The thermi rise in front of you like a temple, and in a way, it is one. A temple to steam, sweat, and social interaction. Inside, the air shifts. Warmth surrounds you. Mosaics decorate the walls. Domed ceilings trap the voices of dozens of bathers in quiet echo. You undress in the apoditerium, a word that sounds fancier than it feels. It's basically a changing room where some people talk politics and others hide their sandals so no one steals them. You fold your tunic carefully and nod to a man who's clearly brought 2 towels and way too much enthusiasm. First stop, the tepidarium. A warm room, not too hot, just enough to loosen your muscles. You sit on a smooth bench, surrounded by men discussing tax policies and the price of olive oil. Steam curls in the air. Someone is humming. Someone else is loudly declaring that Jupiter personally cursed his neighbor's fig tree. You move next to the caldarium, the hot room, and it is hot. The kind of heat that melts thoughts. Your skin prickles. Your lungs tighten. You start to sweat from places you didn't know had sweat glands. You pour water over your head with a bronze ladle and try to stay upright while an elderly man next to you explains his conspiracy theory about cats being spies. Eventually, You stumble out and into the frigidarium, the cold plunge. You stand at the edge. The water looks still, peaceful, evil. You brace yourself, lower in slowly, and then immediately regret all your life choices. It's freezing. Your heart skips a beat. Your brain tries to file a complaint. But afterward, you feel alert, sharp, almost divine. Clean and mostly conscious, you dry off and wrap yourself in a linen towel. Time for a little light protection against the unknown. The Romans are practical. They build aqueducts and roads. But they're also wildly superstitious. You've got a small leather amulet tied around your ankle, filled with herbs, stones, and possibly bits of bird. It's meant to protect you from curses, bad omens, and the evil eye. It smells like regret and dried mint, but you keep it on. Outside the bathhouse, you walk past a vendor selling charms, phallus-shaped ones, mostly, for luck, for protection, for reasons no one fully explains. One is carved from bone, another from clay. They hang like strange, swinging guardians above the doorways of bakeries and butcher shops. You try not to make eye contact. As you stroll home, you pass temples, apartment blocks, and children playing knucklebones in the dust. A fortune teller is reading omens from bird flight patterns. Another is trying to sell dream interpretation scrolls, and someone else is claiming their dog can bark in Latin. You're not impressed. Back at the villa, lunch is simple: bread, cheese, olives, and some dried fruit. You eat slowly, reclining on a cushioned bench, while a cousin tells you about a senator who thinks wearing a frog bone in his sandal makes him invincible in debates. You nod politely. Ancient Rome is many things. Boring is not one of them. Later, you prepare for your nap. A proper Roman meridiatio. Midday sleep is sacred, essential. You lie back in the shade. The air still heavy from your earlier steam bath. Your skin clean and slightly red from the scraping. You feel civilized and a little ridiculous. Above you, a wind chime tinkles softly. Somewhere in the distance, a poet is reciting verses about a woman with eyes like olives and a laugh like goat bells. You drift off before he finishes the third metaphor. In your sleep, you dream of marble halls and endless fountains. You dream of oil lamps and gossip, and maybe a small, angry amulet that whispers advice. You turn it over in your dream hand. It says, "Stay out of the Senate, and don't trust the man with the frog bone." Good advice, probably. It's damp this morning. Mist creeps over the hills like it's trying not to wake the trees. You can smell the earth before you even open your eyes. Wet leaves, moss, the faint burn of wood smoke in the distance. You're in ancient Celtic lands now, Iron Age Britain, which is not as romantic as it sounds. There are no polished swords or flowing red capes here. Just mud, so much mud. You rise slowly from your mossy bedding in a roundhouse. The walls are woven from branches and sealed with daub. The roof, a cone of thatch that drips in a lazy rhythm whenever it rains, which is always. The fire in the center is still smoldering, and the air is thick with the smell of yesterday's stew and the slightly haunting scent of boiled sheep. Outside, the village is already stirring. People are feeding pigs, mending fences, and trying not to step in anything alive. A man walks past, carrying what looks suspiciously like a severed head. You try not to stare. He notices your look and gives a proud nod. Here, heads are a big deal. The Celts believe the head is the seat of the soul. So if you defeat an enemy in battle, you keep their head. Maybe mount it above your door. Maybe put it on a shelf. Maybe just carry it around until someone asks too many questions. It's part trophy, part spiritual insurance. A grim, but oddly respected, habit. You walk up the path toward the forest edge, where the druids live. Not in huts, exactly. More like wherever they feel the sacred wind blows that day. One is standing under an ancient oak tree, eyes closed, whispering to it like they're old friends. You wait patiently. Interrupting a druid mid-dope chat is a fast track to being hexed. Or worse, included in a long metaphor about deer. When she finally opens her eyes, she smiles faintly, then hands you a handful of mistletoe. It's not romantic, it's medicinal, or magical, or both. The druids use it for everything. Warding off evil, healing wounds, making fertility charms. You ask if it works. She says it depends on the moon. You nod as if that clears everything up. Down by the river, someone is crafting a new charm. It's made of twine, feathers, and animal bones. A little grotesque, a little beautiful. These are tied to doorways, hung from belts, or worn on wrists to protect from illness, bad harvests, or curses from neighbors with a suspicious number of toads. Speaking of toads, yours is missing. Yes, you have a toad. Everyone does. Or a frog, or a beetle in a box. The idea is that keeping a small creature in your home absorbs unwanted spirits, or at the very least, distracts them. You search the edge of your hut and find yours under a bucket, looking grumpy. You apologize, offer it a worm. Crisis averted. Breakfast is practical. Barley porridge with honey if you're lucky, with bits of dried root if you're not. You eat it by the fire, watching smoke curl up into the thatched ceiling, where it mostly stays, because chimneys haven't been invented yet. You cough once, then settle in. A young boy arrives with a bundle of herbs. He's pale and nervous. Says his sister had a bad dream. In this world, that's not small talk. Dreams are warnings. Messages you're expected to consult the druids or interpret the signs yourself. You take the herbs, nod seriously, and suggest she sleep with an acorn under her tongue. No one knows if that works, but it sounds ancient enough to be convincing. Later in the day, the warriors return from a hunting trip. They carry deer, boars, and a slightly dented man who insists he tripped on a magical route. They joke, laugh, clean their weapons, then sit down to tell stories. The tales are full of heroic deaths, ghostly visitors, and battles won through cleverness and maybe just a hint of divine trickery. You lie on the ground, looking up through the thin smoke, listening. Someone hands you a carved stone to hold. It's smooth, black, and allegedly very lucky. You grip it tightly, just in case. Around your neck, you wear a charm made of braided horsehair and a shard of antler. It doesn't do anything, but it's beautiful, and beauty, in this world, is power. As dusk falls, a druid lights a fire in the center of the village. People gather silently. You join them, feeling the heat on your face and the earth beneath your toes. The fire crackles. Sparks dance upward like tiny souls on holiday. The druid throws herbs into the flames. The scent is sharp and sweet. Thyme, maybe sage, and something else that makes your nose twitch. She begins to chant, softly at first, then louder. Her voice blends with the wind, the fire, the murmurs of the crowd. It's a ritual, a blessing, or maybe just a reminder that you are small, and the world is very, very old. You close your eyes. In this place, beliefs are woven into every part of life. Trees are sacred. Rocks have memory. Animals carry messages. Everything means something, even if no one agrees on what. It doesn't have to make sense. It just has to feel right. You open your eyes again, just as the fire dies low. Someone plays a hollow-boned flute. The melody is simple, haunting. You lie back on the ground, head resting on your arm, and watch the sky flicker with stars that look exactly the same as they did 1,000 years ago. You wonder if the druids ever get tired of explaining things. Probably not. After all, mystery is half the fun. You wake up on a warm stone floor, not because you fell asleep there, but because that's your bed. A rectangle of heat-baked clay in a room lit only by a flickering oil lamp. You're in Babylon now, land of ziggurats, hanging gardens, and very suspicious sheep. The air smells like dust, incense, and something vaguely metallic. Bronze, maybe, or dried blood, or both. Outside, the city is already buzzing. Merchants calling out prices, donkeys arguing with each other, scribes muttering to themselves in cuneiform. You sit up, stretch, and almost knock over a tiny statue near your head. It's a protective figure. You've got 5 more of them scattered around the room. One for sleep, one for luck, one to stop dreams from becoming prophecies. You are not sure what the other 2 are for, but you don't dare move them. Someone calls your name. You follow the voice through narrow alleys and low archways until you reach a small chamber with clay walls and shelves filled with scrolls, bones, and what might be old lunch. You're here for a reading. Not the kind with books, the kind with livers. The priest looks up. He's wearing a wool robe and a permanently unimpressed expression. He nods at the small table in the center of the room, where a freshly sacrificed sheep is waiting. Its liver glistens in the morning light. You try not to breathe too deeply. This is extispasy, the ancient art of reading the future by examining animal organs, specifically livers. The priest lifts the organ like he's presenting a trophy. He turns it slowly, squints, then mutters something about an unusually dark right lobe, which is either great news or means you should avoid business deals today. He doesn't clarify. He pokes a specific fold. Look, he says, pointing with a bone tool. That shape indicates foreign travel. You blink. You were not planning on leaving the city, but now you're rethinking everything. He nods again, more serious. This time, you will meet someone with power, or possibly someone who smells like goats. It's a flexible system. Later, you walk to the marketplace, still a bit dazed. The sun is rising fast, and the bricks beneath your feet are warm. The city is alive with motion. Potters shape clay, traders shout from behind pyramids of barley, and children chase a dog that has stolen someone's sandal. A man with a long beard and an even longer scroll tries to sell you a talisman. He swears it was blessed by a priest who once sneezed during an eclipse, which apparently makes it extra powerful. You pass, but he throws in a curse-repelling pebble anyway, just in case. You pass the ziggurat on your way home. It rises like a layer cake made of stone, its stairs wide and endless. At the top, a priest is offering prayers to the sky. The Babylonians are obsessed with the stars, not just as pretty lights, but as God's handwriting. The night sky is a calendar, a warning system, and a dramatic soap opera all rolled into one. You remember last week's star chart. Mars rising at sunset, Venus retreating into the arms of Saturn. Everyone took it to mean conflict. Someone interpreted it as a need to clean their grain storage. Same thing, maybe. At home, your neighbor is talking loudly about a dream he had. In Babylon, dreams are not just personal curiosities. They're divine messages, omens, cosmic notes scribbled on the back of your subconscious. He saw a snake with 2 heads and a crown of figs. The local dream interpreter said it means he should avoid olives for a week and watch for betrayal. He's not taking chances. You lie down after lunch to rest. Bread, figs, and lentil stew still warm in your stomach. The ceiling above you is low and painted with faded symbols. You try to close your eyes, but the sound of someone chanting outside pulls your attention. A woman is reciting an incantation. She's holding a small clay tablet and swinging a pouch of herbs. She's trying to lift a curse placed by her cousin after a fight over stolen beer. This is normal. Magic is not hidden here. It's part of the economy. Curses are bought, sold, and removed like any other service. Need to banish bad luck? Hire someone. Need to get rid of a rival? Don't. But someone might. Which is why you carry an amulet, shaped like a lion. It wards off evil spirits and nosy relatives. In the evening, you visit the temple district again, this time to thank the gods, or apologize, or both. The line between reverence and fear is very thin here. You kneel, offer a bit of barley, whisper a few carefully rehearsed lines. A priestess nearby burns resin on a low fire. It smells sharp and sacred. The sun begins to set. The city turns orange and gold. The palm trees cast long shadows across the streets, and even the donkeys seem quieter. You climb onto the roof of your home. The breeze is light, cool, carried from the river and full of distant voices. Above you, the stars begin to appear. First one, then another, then all at once. A sky full of signs. You try to remember what the priest said about Jupiter aligning with the crescent moon. Something about strength, or maybe indigestion. Either way, it's probably best not to eat too much before bed. You lie back, hands behind your head, staring upward. The stars flicker like ancient lanterns. Somewhere in the distance, a dog barks. Somewhere else, someone is still chanting. And in your pocket, the liver-reading priest's warning lingers. Tomorrow, avoid goats. The room is silent, but not empty. Heavy silks hang from the ceiling, catching the sunlight like water. The scent of sandalwood drifts across the polished floor, mingling with the sweetness of fermented tea. Outside, a gong sounds low and deep. You're in ancient China now, imperial China. Somewhere in a palace that smells like wisdom, fear, and slightly burnt jasmine. You sit up slowly. The mat beneath you is embroidered with dragons and clouds. Your robe is soft. Your bones are not. You stretch, wince, and remember that comfort here is for emperors. And you're not an emperor. You're just someone trying to survive the court without being poisoned, cursed, or accused of stepping on the wrong flower during a festival. A servant arrives with a silver tray and a polite, unreadable expression. On the tray, a steaming cup of tea, a single preserved plum, and a small vial of something that looks like liquid mercury. It's glowing faintly, probably not a good sign, but you drink it anyway. Because here, in the Han Dynasty, people believe mercury makes you immortal. You swirl it around in your mouth. Metallic, slick, slightly alarming. You swallow. Somewhere inside you, your liver files a complaint. Elixirs of immortality are all the rage now. Alchemists promise eternal life in tiny ceramic bottles. The ingredients are exotic, mystical, and wildly toxic. Gold powder, ground jade, cinnabar, crushed pearls, and yes, actual mercury. People don't live longer, but they do die more mysteriously. You rise, slightly dizzy, and make your way through the echoing stone corridors of the palace. The walls are painted with swirling clouds and legendary beasts, all watching you like they know something you don't. The court astrologer bows as you pass, muttering something about an unlucky star and advising you to avoid red fruit for the next 3 days. The emperor is obsessed with the heavens. Every movement of every planet is recorded and analyzed. Eclipses are terrifying omens. Comets are messengers of doom. Even a change in the wind direction can cause a minor panic. You once saw 3 ministers punished because a solar flare appeared on the same day the emperor stubbed his toe. Coincidence? Unlikely. In court, everything has meaning, even the meaningless. You pass the alchemist's chamber on the way to breakfast. The door is slightly ajar. Inside, shelves upon shelves of powders, stones, scrolls, and liquids in every possible color line the walls. The man himself is hunched over a flame, carefully, mixing a paste made from deer horn and something that smells like old cabbage. He turns, sees you, and offers you a small smile. "Try this one," he says. It strengthens the spirit. You accept the dish. It's warm and jiggling. You walk outside and sit under the shade of a plum tree. Breakfast is laid out by the servant's steamed buns, rice porridge, pickled vegetables, and more tea. You chew slowly, trying not to think about what was in the elixir. The porridge is bland but safe, mostly. Nearby, a scholar is reading poetry to no one in particular. His voice is slow, deliberate, each word pronounced like it's afraid to offend the wind. The poem is about a lonely crane who falls in love with the moon. You nod along, pretend you understand. You don't. After breakfast, you're summoned to a consultation. Not with a doctor, with a After breakfast, you're summoned to a consultation. Not with a doctor, with a geomancer. After breakfast, you're summoned to a consultation. Not with a doctor, with a geomancer. He arrives holding a long bamboo. He arrives holding a long bamboo stick and a bag of turtle shells. His job is to read the land, the wind, the direction your door faces, and the shape of your eyebrows. It's called feng shui, and it's serious business. Your house is fine, he says, but your bed is facing the wrong direction, which may invite ancestral dissatisfaction. Also, the peach tree outside your window is probably judging you. Your house is fine, he says, but your bed is facing the wrong direction, which may invite ancestral dissatisfaction. Also, the peach tree outside your window is probably judging you. You thank him, tip him, turn your bed. In the afternoon, you visit the garden. It's perfect, too perfect. Every rock has been placed with mathematical precision. The koi in the pond swim in a calculated pattern, as if someone gave them a briefing. Even the trees seem to bow in the right direction. You stroll slowly, carefully. You do not pick anything. You do not touch anything. You especially do not step on the moss. Back in your chambers, a physician visits. He checks your pulse, not once, but several times, on both wrists, at different depths. According to him, your spleen is overconfident and your lungs are emotionally distant. He prescribes a tea made from ginseng, deer tendon, and dried cicadas. You pretend to be excited, and then he checks your tongue. He frowns. Apparently, it's too pink. You drink the tea. It tastes like bark, insects, and disappointment. As evening falls, you prepare for a formal dinner. Your teeth are already black. Yes, black. To show refinement, nobility, and maturity, court women here stain their teeth using a mixture of iron filings and vinegar. The result is striking. You look like you've been chewing coal. But in this society, white teeth are considered animalistic, savage. Only peasants have white teeth. So you smile with confidence. A dark, metallic grin. Dinner is long, ritualistic, served in 13 courses that you don't recognize and aren't sure you should. One dish appears to be duck tongue, arranged into the shape of a chrysanthemum. Another is a clear soup that smells like sadness. You eat slowly, watching the emperor across the hall, who is surrounded by guards and fanned constantly by two women who haven't blinked in 20 minutes. He lifts a gold cup, drinks, sighs, then reaches for his elixir. More mercury, more faith. As the night winds down, you return to your quarters. You light a lantern and climb into your bed, now correctly aligned with the cosmos. The room is silent. The moon glows faintly through the screen. Somewhere in the palace, a gong sounds again. You lie still. Your stomach is uneasy. Your teeth taste like metal. And yet, you feel timeless. In this world, where belief and medicine overlap, where stars guide fate and poison promises immortality, every choice is a gamble. But tonight, you've survived. And if you wake up tomorrow still breathing and only slightly glowing, maybe that's good enough. You wake up cold. Not a light chill or a pleasant breeze. This is full body, bones humming, skin tightening cold. Your blanket is made of animal hides, thick and scratchy, and even that wasn't enough to keep out the night air. You're in the land of the Norse now, somewhere near the edge of the world. Ice glitters on the ground outside your tent. The sun is barely thinking about rising, and your breath curls visibly in front of your face. You sit up, pull your cloak tighter, and try to remember how many toes you had when you fell asleep. Hopefully, the number hasn't changed. The air smells of smoke and fur and slightly overcooked fish. A dog barks in the distance. Ravens call to each other above your tent, circling in slow, black loops across the pale sky. That's not a great sign. Ravens are messengers of Odin, of death, of misfortune. Sometimes, of all three, you step outside and immediately regret it. The frost crunches underfoot. A few warriors are sharpening weapons near the fire, their breath misting like they're part dragon. They nod at you without smiling. No one smiles much here. Life is hard. The ale is bitter. And someone just found a severed finger in the woods. Again. You approach the longhouse, where breakfast is being cooked over an open fire. It's fish, flatbread, and some mysterious stew that might contain root vegetables or might contain last week's leftover seal. It's hard to tell. You eat quickly, not because it's good, but because food is warmth, and warmth is survival. Today is a burial day. An old warrior died last night, old by Norse standards, meaning he lived past 40. He didn't die in battle, which is unfortunate. A death at home is less glorious, but no one says that out loud. He was respected. He drank deeply, fought bravely, and told the same story about wrestling a bear so many times that people started to believe it. The preparations begin early. His body is wrapped in cloth, layered with furs, and laid out on a raised platform beside the fjord. People bring gifts, swords, coins, rings, carved tokens, not for the living, for him, so he has something to take to the afterlife. Some even add food and ale, because it's a long journey to Valhalla, and you don't want to show up hungry. Someone leads a goat around the burial site 3 times, for reasons no one fully explains. It's supposed to confuse spirits, or possibly confuse the goat. Either way, it's tradition. You help carry the body down to the boat, a real one, carved from thick timber, its sides decorated with serpent patterns and iron nails. The warrior is laid gently in the center. More offerings are placed around him. A shield, a broken harp, a small jar filled with something sticky that might be honey or might be fermented regret, and then the fire. A torch is passed around. The oldest woman in the village lights the kindling. Flames catch. The wind howls. The smoke curls up to the sky in thick black ribbons. People sing low, rough voices that rise and fall like waves. You can feel the heat on your face, smell the burning wood and fur and whatever charms were buried with him. The boat floats out slowly, pushed by hand, drifting into the dark water. The fire dances higher. Embers crackle and vanish into the clouds. Somewhere, someone says the ravens are pleased. You're not sure that's a compliment. After the ritual, things return to normal. People drink loudly. There's a feast in the longhouse: roasted meat, sour bread, and more ale than seems safe. You sip yours carefully. It tastes like smoke and moss and poor choices. A woman across the table starts talking about dreams. She saw herself flying over a battlefield, then falling into the sea. That means a good harvest, apparently. Unless the sea was frozen, in which case it means someone is hiding a secret. She eyes you suspiciously. You pretend to choke on your bread. Later, you step outside for some air. The sky is a swirl of purple and grey. Snow begins to fall, soft and silent. You pull your cloak tight and stare at the ravens. Still there, still watching. Norse people believe in signs, in fate, in symbols. If a raven follows you, it might mean you're blessed, or cursed, or simply interesting. You walk to the edge of the fjord. The water is calm now, reflecting the firelight and the last flicker of the burial pyre in the distance. The cold settles into your bones again, but it feels different now, like a weight you've learned to carry. You look down and realize you're still holding a charm, a small iron pendant shaped like a hammer, Thor's hammer. For protection, you squeeze it once, just to be sure. Tonight, the village is quiet. People sleep heavily after the feast. Dogs curl up near the fires. The stars begin to show above the clouds, sharp and clean like polished spears. You lie back on your bed of hides and furs, pulling the cloak over your face. In this world, life is short, brutal, and full of omens. You can't control the weather. You can't escape your fate. But you can honor your dead, drink your ale, and wear your charms like they matter. You drift off to the sound of ravens in the trees, wondering whether they're watching over you or waiting for you. Either way, you sleep with one eye open, just in case. The heat hits first. It wraps around you like a thick blanket, damp and heavy, pressing against your skin before you even open your eyes. You're in the heart of the jungle. You're now in ancient Mesoamerica, the land of the Maya. Everything around you is green and breathing. Birds cry out in bursts, insects hum from every direction, and the air tastes like leaves and smoke. You sit up from your woven mat, sticky with sweat and the faint memory of dreams you're not sure you want to remember. Your face feels flushed. Your chest is painted red with a thin line of crushed achiote. Not decoration, not fashion. A ritual mark, one you barely remember receiving the night before, when the priests were chanting and the drums echoed like thunder through the trees. You hear the flutes already, the low, ghostly sound drifting through the morning fog. Today is a sacred day. You're not sure what it's for exactly. Every day seems sacred here, but this one feels more intense. People are preparing, and you're part of it. You wash in a basin of cool water, brushing your teeth with a bit of soft wood and ashes. It's gritty, but it works. Then you slip into your garments, woven cloth, patterned with jaguar spots and bright geometric lines. You tie your belt, Attach your jade pendant and head into the village center. The plaza is alive. Women kneel beside fires, grinding maize. Men carry bundles of incense. Children chase each other past towering stone pyramids, their laughter echoing up the steps. The air smells like copal resin, burning steadily from small clay pots. A sweet, thick smoke meant to please the gods or distract them. You glance up at the sky. It's hazy, pale, already hot. The priests are gathered at the top of the temple stairs. One holds a flint blade, another is arranging paper flags, and a third is pouring something red and thick into a carved bowl. It's blood, not yours, not yet. The Maya believe blood feeds the gods, keeps the world turning. It's not punishment, it's duty, honor. Every drop matters, so people offer it willingly. From the tongue, the earlobe, the forearm, a little cut, a controlled trickle, enough to be sacred, not deadly. You feel a strange pride as your turn approaches. This is your role today, not a sacrifice, just a contribution, a thread in the divine fabric. A priest ties a thin cord around your finger and pricks it with a bone needle. The pain is sharp, brief, and real. The blood runs freely. You catch it on bark paper, fold it, offer it to the fire. It curls and blackens. The smoke rises. You step back, lightheaded, and are handed a cup of something cool. It tastes like crushed cacao and chili, bittersweet and oddly energizing. Nearby, elders gather to consult Thessalkian, the sacred calendar. It's not like the ones you're used to. There are no neat months, no clean weeks. Time here moves in layers and loops. Days are names, not numbers. Wind, snake, night, rain. Each carries a meaning. Each has power. They say today is 3 dear. A good day for vision. A dangerous day for travel. Someone advises you not to walk west until tomorrow. You nod like you weren't already planning to walk west. As the ritual ends, a procession begins. Musicians lead the way, their drums beating like a steady heartbeat. You follow the crowd through narrow jungle paths lined with carved stelae. Each stone tells a story. Kings, gods, wars, eclipses. Some stories are real, some are remembered wrong. But all are carved in stone, and stone doesn't argue. At the edge of the forest, a gathering forms. The topic, numbers. Yes, numbers. The Maya love math almost as much as they love blood rituals. Their number system is elegant, built on dots and bars, and their concept of zero is centuries ahead of its time. A scribe draws a massive glyph in the dirt with a stick. A nearby elder explains how today's date folds into a larger cosmic cycle. You understand none of it, but you nod again, because everyone else is nodding. As afternoon turns to evening, you return to your dwelling. The sun sinks low, painting the trees in gold. You sit on a stone bench and drink bolche, a fermented honey drink that tastes like floral vinegar and poor decisions. You sip slowly. Someone nearby is preparing for a festival. You can hear the music starting again. The dancers are painting their faces with black and red stripes, their feathered headdresses rising like crowns. Soon there will be food, fire, and stories retold in shadow and smoke. You watch them begin. The dance is hypnotic. Spiraling movements, heavy footfalls, shouts and silence woven together. They imitate jaguars, snakes, gods descending from the heavens. You sit still, eyes wide. The flames flicker in the dancers' eyes. Later, after the noise fades and the last drum beat echoes into the trees, you lie back beneath the stars. The night is thick with heat and insects. A lizard scurries across the roof. Somewhere in the jungle, something howls. Something bigger replies, but you're calm. You've bled for your gods, listened to your calendar, drunk your strange drinks. You've done everything right. And tomorrow is for rabbit. A good day for planting. It's not even dawn, and the drums are already echoing, deep, rhythmic, and relentless. Each beat seems to strike your chest like a warning, or maybe a challenge. You're in the Aztec Empire now, somewhere in the middle of Tenochtitlan, a city of stone and shimmering canals, where the gods are hungry and the people are proud. You rise from your reed mat, stretch your arms, and immediately feel the weight of today pressing in. Not metaphorical weight, literal. You're wearing a ceremonial breastplate that's more for show than for comfort. Carved obsidian glints from your belt. Your teeth are polished, and a few of them, yes, are inlaid with jade. Don't worry, that part didn't hurt much. Aztecs believe in beauty, but not the soft kind, the intense kind. Jade teeth, pierced lips, elaborate headdresses with feathers so vibrant they practically hum with power. You wear yours now, stiff, colorful, mildly itchy. You look incredible, and slightly terrified. Today is a flower war, but don't let the name fool you. There's nothing delicate about it. These are ritual battles, arranged with neighboring city-states. Not to conquer, not for territory, but to capture. Because prisoners are needed, not for jail, for the gods. You step into the main square. The temple mayor looms above, steep and ominous. A serpent god is carved into the stairs. The air smells like sweat, incense, and roasted corn. The city is already alive with motion. Market vendors shout, priests chant, warriors check their weapons. Maquahuitl, wooden swords lined with sharp obsidian blades that can slice clean through a man's leg. You carry yours with reverence and a little fear. The war begins in a field just outside the city, a strange combination of real combat and formal theater. Everyone knows the rules. You're not here to slaughter. You're here to fight fiercely, capture opponents, and drag them back as offerings. The gods want courage, not cowardice, but they also want people, living ones, for now. You engage your first opponent in a blur of movement. Blades clash, dust rises. They're shouting, blood, but no killing, at least, not yet. You knock him down, bind his hands, and offer a short prayer. He spits at your feet. You admire the attitude. Back in the city, the prisoners are led to the temple, not immediately sacrificed. There's preparation first, ritual painting, blessings, a final meal. You watch from a distance, your body sore, your skin sticky, your mind strangely calm. It's hard to explain. Here, death is not feared the way it is in your time. It's honored, expected, even welcomed if it means serving the gods. The sun must rise, the rain must fall, and blood is the price of both. You walk to the temple steps, each one steep, narrow, unforgiving. The priests are at the top, dressed in jaguar skins and eagle feathers. Their faces are painted with ash and red lines. One of them smiles at you, teeth blackened with crushed charcoal. You smile back. It's polite. You climb the stairs slowly. At the top, the city spreads below like a dream. Lake Texcoco glimmers. The canals stretch like veins. The mountains form a jagged crown around it all. It's beautiful, briefly, achingly beautiful. The sacrifice is performed with precision. There is chanting, drums, the beating of the heart. First inside the chest, then offered to the gods. You look away, not out of horror, but respect. The priest wipes his hands with a strip of cloth and returns to his position. The air shifts. Something in the wind feels cleaner. Charged, the gods are pleased. You descend the steps again, not with pride, not with guilt, just with understanding. This is life here, brutal, sacred, necessary. You spend the afternoon in recovery, washing the blood from your arms, rewrapping your sandals, eating tamales filled with beans and squash blossoms. Children run past laughing, carrying paper butterflies on strings. A flute plays a simple melody in the distance. Later, you sit near the garden of a temple. Not all gods here demand blood. Some prefer music or flowers. You press a marigold between your fingers. Its scent is warm and strange. You leave it on the altar, beside a small carving of Xochipilli, the god of art, dance, and song. You hope he notices. As night falls, the city glows with torches. Reflections shimmer across the canals. Frogs sing. Somewhere, a family lights a small fire and tells stories of hummingbirds that became warriors, of volcanoes that fell in love, of stars that never die. You lie back, your body sore, your mind drifting. The stars above you are ancient, watching, waiting. They've seen thousands of sacrifices, thousands of warriors. They've seen jade teeth and obsidian swords and empires rise and fall. You close your eyes in this world. Honor lives in every cut, every prayer, every breath offered to the sky. Tomorrow the drums will beat again, and you'll be ready. You're walking, slowly, limping. Actually, your feet are blistered, your back is sore, and your cloak smells like wet wool and low expectations. Welcome to medieval Europe, and congratulations, you're a pilgrim now. You've been walking for days, weeks, maybe longer. Time moves differently when your entire calendar revolves around how many toenails you've lost. You started this journey in the hope of a miracle, a healing, a blessing, or at the very least, a slightly better afterlife. The road ahead is muddy and deeply unpleasant. Each step makes a sound somewhere between a squelch and a prayer. The sky is grey. The trees are damp. You pass a farmer who's yelling at a cow, and the cow appears to be winning. You carry your one true possession, a small satchel filled with dried bread, an onion, and a holy relic you bought from a man in a hat shaped like a church. It's supposedly a saint's finger bone, or maybe a sheep's toe. Either way, it's wrapped in linen and you're not opening it. Relics are important here. Pieces of saints, objects they touched, or bits of cloth they may have sneezed on. People believe they heal the sick, forgive sins, and occasionally glow under moonlight. You're not sure yours works, but it smells holy enough, musty, like righteousness, with a hint of mildew. You reach a small chapel by midday. It's stone, lopsided, and slightly leaning like it's had one too many confessions. A priest greets you at the door. He blesses your relic, hands you a thin bowl of broth, and tells you to stay the night. You nod gratefully, even as your knees whisper curses. Inside, the chapel is quiet and dark. Candles flicker beside statues with cracked faces. A woman is weeping silently in a pew. You sit beside her. She doesn't look at you, but she slides a bead from her rosary through her fingers with the rhythm of someone praying for someone who's already gone. You sleep on the floor near the altar. It's cold, unforgiving, but it's dry and no one steps on your face, which counts as luxury. In the morning, you rise before the sun. Your stomach aches, your muscles protest, but you continue walking. The road is still wet. Your boots still leak, but your relic is still tied around your neck. And that's what matters. Faith and blisters. Along the way, you meet another pilgrim. His hat is even more ridiculous than yours. Wide-brimmed, decorated with feathers, bits of mirror, and something that looks like an owl's foot. He introduces himself as Thomas, says he's been walking since last autumn, and claims to have seen a relic that bled on command. You nod, impressed, or confused, or both. You walk together for a while, trading stories. He talks about a saint who once turned a river into wine. You tell him about the time you fell in a pig trough and decided it was a holy sign. Neither of you questions anything. That's not what pilgrims do. At a crossroads, you stop for rest. A local woman offers you a piece of dried fruit and asks to see a relic. You show her. She nods solemnly, then shows you hers, a thin sliver of wood from the true cross. You do not ask how she knows. There are, somehow, enough pieces of the true cross in circulation to build a modest church. You pass through towns where relics are displayed like celebrity cameos. One church claims to have John the Baptist's tooth. Another says it owns a feather from the Archangel Gabriel. One man swears his relic is a tear from the Virgin Mary, preserved in a jar that looks suspiciously like a vinegar bottle. Each time, people line up, they kneel, they pray. Some weep, some sing, some just stare, hoping for a miracle, hoping something happens. By evening, you arrive at a larger town, a real pilgrimage site, the kind with gift shops. Well, stalls. Merchants selling bread shaped like saints, charms to protect your soul, and badges to prove you made it. You buy one. It's bent and rusty, but now your cloak has proof that you've suffered for spiritual reasons. At the main church, crowds, pressed together in slow waves. You inch forward. The relic here is said to be powerful, an actual piece of the saint's skull. It sits in a glass box on the altar, wrapped in velvet, crowned with flowers. It looks like a small piece of bone, but the air in the room feels different. Heavy, charged. People whisper. Someone faints. A dog starts howling outside. You step forward, kneel, and hold your relic close. You close your eyes. You don't feel healed, or enlightened, or changed, but you feel seen. And sometimes that's enough. Later that night, you find a place to sleep near the city wall. It's crowded, loud. You're sandwiched between a merchant who snores like a dying ox and a nun who talks in her sleep about cabbage. You pull your cloak over your face and hold your relic tight. In this world, belief is both armor and burden. People carry bones and prayers the way others carry swords. They walk for days to touch a splinter, to kiss a rock, to kneel before something they'll never understand. And here you are, sore, dirty, maybe slightly infected, but full of something ancient and quiet. You've walked this far, you'll walk farther, one blister, one prayer, one toe bone at a time. The first thing you notice is the quiet, no shouting, no carts rattling down cobbled streets, no dogs barking at each other over questionable scraps. Just the sound of water dripping gently from a bamboo pipe into a stone basin, soft, precise, intentional. You're in Edo period Japan now, and everything around you feels clean, deliberate, like someone combed the entire city before letting you in. You rise from your futon, the cotton mat smooth beneath your back, your blanket folded neatly at your feet. The room is sparse, just a low wooden table, a calligraphy scroll, and a single vase holding a seasonal flower. It smells like cedar and tea and the faintest trace of burnt charcoal. Nothing else, no rot, no mold, no mystery. You slide open the paper screen and step into the hallway. Your socks whisper across the polished floorboards. The home is spotless. Not because you cleaned it yesterday, but because it's cleaned every day, often multiple times. Dirt is not just unsightly here, it's disrespectful. Outside, the sun is rising gently over the tiled rooftops. A neighbor is sweeping her porch with a bundle of straw, bowing slightly toward the morning. You bow back, instinctively, and she smiles. Her teeth are black. Yes, black. You try not to stare, but it's hard to ignore. The teeth look lacquered, almost like polished ink. This is ohaguro, the custom of tooth blackening, worn by married women, nobles, and anyone with a strong sense of tradition. It's a mark of beauty, maturity, and elegance. It also supposedly helps prevent tooth decay. You're not convinced, but in this society, pearly whites are considered animalistic, primitive. You run your tongue over your own teeth and briefly consider some iron dye. You make your way to the communal bathhouse. Even bathing here is ritual. You remove your robe, wash thoroughly before entering the tub. Always before. The water is hot. Not warm, hot. It bites at first, but then wraps you in a kind of silence. Steam rises around you, carrying the scent of hinoki wood. No one speaks. That would break the spell. Afterward, you step into the changing area, wrap yourself in fresh cloth, and head back through the narrow alleys of the neighborhood. Everything is quiet efficiency. Laundry hangs in perfect rows. Tiny gardens sprout from ceramic pots. Children bow to elders as they pass, even while kicking wooden toys in the dirt. You stop at a tea stand. The vendor greets you with a smile, hands you a small bowl of matcha. It's thick, grassy, slightly bitter. You sip it slowly, watching a man nearby rake the gravel in front of a temple. Not because it's dirty, but because it's part of the ritual. The patterns in the gravel reflect the mind, or something like that. Honestly, you're not sure, but it's mesmerizing. You continue walking through the market streets. Everything here is neatly arranged. Pickled radishes in stacked barrels, silk folded with geometric perfection, calligraphy brushes hanging like feathers from the ceiling beams. Even the smells are orderly. Soy sauce, smoke, dried fish. Nothing overpowers. Nothing yells. You pass a group of geisha, moving quietly toward a tea house. Their movements are fluid, choreographed. Faces white, hair perfect, robes painted with autumn leaves. They are art in motion. Everyone stops to admire them. Then life continues, as if no one just witnessed walking poetry. At home, you prepare for a guest. Hosting is serious business. You sweep the floor again, refill the incense, check the tatami mats for specks of dust that might insult someone's soul. When your guest arrives, you bow low, offer tea, and pretend this is all effortless. It's not. You talk quietly. No one interrupts. Each phrase is measured. Every silence is purposeful. Even disagreeing requires subtlety. You say things like that may be so, or there's another way to view it, while silently holding back stronger opinions. This isn't lying. It's harmony. After your guest leaves, you sit alone with a bowl of rice, a slice of grilled mackerel, and a few pickled plums. It's enough. It's always enough. And then, in the evening, comes the final cleaning. You wipe every surface, sweep the floor again, refold the futon with military precision. You remove your socks before stepping on the tatami. Even your body movements feel slower, no more careful. You've been here long enough to feel the rhythm, the balance between form and function, between self and space. You kneel before the small shrine in your home. A candle flickers, a stick of incense smolders. You offer a silent bow to the ancestors, not because you expect them to answer, but because it feels right to acknowledge them. Outside, rain begins to fall. Softly, the kind of rain that doesn't soak you, just follows you like a thought. You listen to it hit the roof in steady taps, like a lullaby made of water. You lie down on your futon, the room dark and perfectly quiet, clean, ordered, peaceful, and, for the first time in a while, your thoughts don't feel like clutter. They just drift, like mist in a garden. You close your eyes. A single candle flickers once, then goes out. You wake to the sound of sandals on stone, light footsteps, deliberate, echoing faintly through a narrow street. Outside, the city of Constantinople stirs. It smells like roasted chestnuts, sea salt, and melted wax. Somewhere nearby, a bell tolls, deep, slow, like it's trying not to wake the saints. This is the Byzantine Empire, the last breath of the Romans, wrapped in gold thread and incense smoke. You sit up on a low wooden bed beside a wall painted with halos and saints with wide, judging eyes. Your blanket is coarse but warm. The air is still. You pull back the heavy curtain and step into a courtyard lit by the soft grey light of morning. Pigeons flutter away from a puddle. A cat stares at you like you're late for something. In the corner of the courtyard, a woman is whispering to a candle. She's a dream interpreter, well respected, slightly terrifying. She believes dreams are divine messages, warnings, prophecies, answers to questions you didn't know you asked. You greet her carefully. She nods without smiling and asks you what you dreamed. You hesitate. It was something about a burning tree, a horse with human eyes, and your cousin shouting the word pepper. She doesn't flinch, just closes her eyes and begins muttering. She tells you it means conflict is near, but also clarity. You ask if you should be worried. She says yes, but not today. You eat a small breakfast of olives, bread, and cheese, while watching a procession of monks pass outside the gate. Their heads are bowed. They're carrying a relic wrapped in velvet, probably a saint's finger or a jawbone. Relics are everywhere in this city. You've seen shops that sell nothing but pieces of saints, scraps of cloth from holy robes, and splinters from enough true crosses to build a fence around the entire empire. But it's not a joke here, not even close. In a world where invisible things matter more than visible ones, protection is everything. Your room is lined with icons, painted faces of saints, of Christ, of Mary. Some are faded, some glow faintly in the right light. You kiss one lightly before stepping outside. It's not superstition, it's survival. The streets are loud now. Merchants calling, donkeys braying. A group of students arguing about Aristotle in one breath, and whether goats have souls in the next. Byzantine life is like that, intellectual and absurd all at once. You pass under an arch and into a square where a man is selling charms, small blue stones to ward off the evil eye, iron crosses, pieces of fabric tied in knots for specific prayers. You buy one almost without thinking, just a small piece of twisted wire. He says it keeps nightmares away. You nod. He doesn't blink. You're not sure he's ever blinked. Back home, you rest for a while in the cool shadows of the main room. The light from the high windows spills in soft stripes. You sit quietly. No sound but the distant chants from a nearby church and the rustle of a fig tree just outside the wall. In the afternoon, you visit a holy woman known for her visions. She lives in a single room near the monastery, surrounded by candles and the soft hiss of burning oil. You bring her a small gift, dried figs and a scrap of gold thread. She accepts them, says a prayer, and tells you something you already knew but needed to hear. That you are being watched, not by people, but by something older. You leave quietly. That evening, the city glows like a chalice. Candles in windows, lanterns on balconies. The marble glints pink and gold in the last light. At the great church, the Hagia Sophia, the service has already begun. The scent of incense rolls out in thick waves. The hymns are slow, heavy, impossible to hum. You slip inside. It's vast. Domed ceilings that float like sky. Walls covered in mosaics. Tiny squares of gold tile forming faces too holy to meet your eyes. The crowd is still. Voices rise and fall. The entire space breathes with centuries of hope, fear, and awe. You feel it settle on your shoulders. Not fear, not peace, something between. Back home, you light your own candle, whisper your own prayer. Something simple, not for wealth or fame, just for a quiet mind, a safe night, a dream you can understand. You lie down, pulling the blanket tight. Outside, the wind moves slowly over stone. Cats slip through alleys like ghosts, and somewhere far off, the sea laps gently against the city's edge, in a place ruled by dreams, icons, and unseen battles. You find yourself drifting into sleep beneath the painted eyes of saints. You hope they're watching, but only a little. The world here is open, no walls. No streets, no buildings towering over you. Just sky, endless sky. Pale blue in the morning, dark as ink at night. You're in the steppes of Central Asia now, Mongol territory. The kind of place where the wind never stops moving, and neither do the people. You wake inside a gur, a round tent made of felt and wood, warm from the fire, soft from wool blankets, and creaking faintly as the wind presses against the walls. The smoke hole above you is open, letting in the smell of snow and distant animals. Somewhere outside, a horse whinnies. Someone coughs, and the day begins. You sit up, brush the sleep from your eyes, and pull on your coat. It's thick, heavy, lined with fur. Mongol mornings aren't gentle. They're brisk and unforgiving, and if you hesitate, the frost might start chewing on your toes. Breakfast is already waiting. A small bowl of arag, fermented mare's milk. It's sour, a little fizzy, and aggressively confident. You drink it anyway. It warms your chest, fills your stomach, and reminds you that your ancestors probably had stronger stomachs than you do. The horses are being saddled outside. You duck through the low doorway of the gur and squint into the sun. Everything is golden and cold. The land stretches forever in every direction, grasslands, mountains, the occasional cloud casting a shadow like a passing thought. You mount your horse and join the caravan already forming. Today, you're traveling to a sky burial. It's not grim, not here. When someone dies, their body is returned to the sky, left exposed on a high hill or mountain, where the vultures and eagles can take it. It's not waste, it's release. The body becomes part of the air, the clouds, the wind. Nothing is buried, nothing is sealed. The soul flies freely, unburdened by stone. You ride for hours. The only sound is hooves, wind, and the occasional call of a hawk overhead. People talk in low voices. No one rushes. The journey is as sacred as the ritual. You pass herds of sheep, the white dots moving like spilled rice across the hills. You pass a group of children chasing a dog and laughing so hard they fall into the snow. Eventually, you reach the sacred hill. It's quiet here. even the wind pausing in respect. The body is prepared by the burial priests, cut into precise pieces, laid out with care. You don't watch, not directly. Most people don't. But you bow your head. Say the right words. The birds come quickly. They always do. The ceremony is not about grief, it's about motion. Returning what was borrowed, letting go. The people gather for a meal afterward, meat stew, more arag, songs passed down through generations. Someone sings a slow melody on a mooring core, a horsehead fiddle. The notes seem to stretch across the plain and vanish into the horizon. You ride back in silence, the sun dipping low behind the hills. Your horse moves steady and sure, as if it knows the way without asking. The cold deepens. Your breath clouds the air. You pull your coat tighter, adjust your scarf, and think about the way nothing here ever stays still. Back at camp, fires are lit. Meat is roasted. The night is full of life again. People laugh, argue, toast the dead, toast the living, toast the sheep for being tasty and cooperative. A child tells a story about a wolf who turned into a man and tricked a village into feeding him dumplings for 10 years. Everyone nods. Classic wolf. Before bed, you step away from the camp and look up. The stars are everywhere. No city lights to hide them, no smoke. Just constellations so bright they feel close enough to touch. The Milky Way stretches above you like a road of glitter. Mongols believe the sky is a great dome, that spirits live there, that ancestors watch from above. You bow your head quietly and whisper a name. Then you return to your ger, slip under the blankets and close your eyes. There is no silence like this silence, no stillness like this cold, and yet, somehow, you feel cradled by the wind, as if the sky itself has folded you into its arms. Tomorrow you'll ride again, but tonight you sleep in the land of the endless sky. The first thing you see is a table, not a simple one, not a peasant's table. This one is carved, wide, and sagging slightly under the weight of ancient weirdness. You're not sure where you are anymore, not in one place, not in one time, just somewhere in the heart of history, where all the strange habits and old beliefs have gathered for a final meal. You're seated between a Babylonian priest and a Viking with too many necklaces. Across from you is a Roman wearing way too much eyeliner and an Egyptian woman who just handed you a piece of lotus root and told you to chew it slowly or risk divine confusion. You chew it slowly. The table stretches endlessly in both directions. On it, food, charms, tools, tokens. It's less a banquet and more a museum of human oddity. You pick up a bowl of fermented barley from Mesopotamia. It smells like sadness and a strong headache. You put it down and reach for something safer. Flatbread from a Celtic hearth, marked with a cross and baked for protection against ghosts. You eat it anyway. Ghosts or not, it's warm. Next to it is a cake. Simple, golden, and surprisingly modern looking, until someone mentions it was made using holy spring water and only stirred counterclockwise while reciting protective verses. You nod, naturally. A Maya calendar sits in the middle of the table. Someone's trying to use it to decide when dessert should be served. It's not going well. Too many gods, too many numbers. Eventually, someone flips it over and serves tamales anyway. The drinks are even stranger. One cup holds boiled frog water blessed by a druid. Another has sake infused with dried cherry blossoms and whispered apologies. You sip cautiously from a Roman goblet and immediately regret it. It's mulled wine mixed with vinegar, and someone added a pinch of powdered deer horn for vitality. You smile tightly. Across the table, a Chinese alchemist is arguing with a Byzantine priestess about whether dreams or livers make better prophecies. You duck as the Norseman slams his drinking horn down, insisting ravens are the only reliable messengers. A Japanese noblewoman politely disagrees, offering a pressed iris and a poem as counterargument. No one wins the debate, but everyone nods, as if they did. Further down the table, a medieval pilgrim is holding up a crusty piece of bone and claiming it once cured gout. The Greek next to him laughs and offers a chunk of resin that supposedly repels demons. You wonder which would be more useful on a Monday morning. The conversation turns to superstitions. A Babylonian says, "Never walk backward into a doorway." A Celtic woman warns that placing your shoes upside down invites spirits. An Aztec warrior explains that whistling at night brings the attention of trickster gods. You smile, then slowly stop whistling. Someone passes around a pouch of lucky charms, literal ones. A bare tooth, a carved stone, a tiny bag of salt. Everyone takes one. You reach in and pull out a coin with no face, no markings, just smooth, ancient metal. You keep it in your pocket without asking why. That feels like the point. There's laughter now. Low, warm, exhausted laughter. The kind that comes at the end of a long journey. Everyone has stories. Not all of them make sense. Some involve gods disguised as frogs. Others feature omens delivered by sneezing chickens. One woman swears she once watched a dream walk across a river and into her neighbor's garden. You don't question any of it, because here, in this place between centuries, between worlds, the strange things make more sense than the ordinary ones. Belief, habit, ritual, they're not just customs. They're how people stitched meaning into the chaos. How they made sense of death. Whether childbirth, love, and taxes, the feast winds down. The candles burn low. You lie back on a woven mat near the fire. Around you, the crowd settles into sleep. Some on rugs, some on stone benches, some still muttering prayers or chewing holy herbs. One man is holding a toad. You don't ask, you stare up at the sky, if it is a sky, and watch as stars from a dozen different worlds blink into view. Some shimmer like the Egyptian heavens, others pulse like the Norse constellations. One looks suspiciously like a rabbit. A Greek elder leans close and says the stars are full of stories. You tell him you know, because now you've lived them. You've walked through their fires, drank their potions, worn their charms, whispered their prayers. You've been oiled, scraped, bled, smoked, blessed, buried, and reborn. And somehow you're still here, still breathing, still human. And as you drift off, surrounded by thousands of years of beautiful nonsense, you feel the strangest thing of all, peace. And now your journey is complete. You've wandered through the fog of history, from sacred cows to sky burials, from fermented milk to eyeliner laced with lead, from jade teeth to dream-walking saints. And somewhere along the way, you may have realized, humanity has always been a little strange, but beautiful, always searching, always hoping, always wrapping mystery around the ordinary. Now everything is quiet. The ancient drums have faded. The incense has burned low. The laughter, the rituals, the soft scuff of sandals on stone, all gone. Like smoke in the wind. You're lying in a space outside of time now, wrapped in 100 cultures, 1,000 voices, and not one of them is asking anything of you anymore. You've done enough. Let your breathing slow. Feel your body sink deeper into whatever soft place you're resting on. Let the weight of all the ages melt away. The gods are quiet. The ancestors are watching, but kindly now. And the stars, so many stars, are still there, just as they always were, waiting above your closed eyes. Maybe one of them is watching you back, or maybe it's just happy to see you rest. Let the stories fade, let the old worlds dim, and let yourself fall, slowly, gently, into sleep.